The man was watching the news, but just as he got up to pour himself a glass of water, he missed a critical emergency announcement. The Spanish government had issued a televised alert about a mutated strain of a rabies-like virus. Infected individuals would lose their sanity within minutes and become extremely aggressive. Unaware of the warning, Manel went about his day as usual and headed into town to buy supplies. The constant emergency broadcasts on the radio and ambulances speeding past left him feeling uneasy. When he arrived at the supermarket, he found it packed with residents frantically stockpiling goods. Feeling a growing sense of dread, Manel also bought more food than he normally would. That night, his sister called him unexpectedly. Her husband, a technical officer in the military, had received early insider information. That morning, they had been evacuated to the Canary Islands as part of a military operation. Clearly, the situation had reached a critical stage. His sister urged Manel to evacuate with them, as the next day would be the final flight out. Early the next morning, Manel took his tabby cat and rushed to the airport as fast as he could. But just as he was about to check in, the system suddenly went offline, and all flights were grounded. At the same time, everyone's phones lit up with a nationwide emergency alert. Due to the virus, the entire country of Spain was going into lockdown. No one was allowed to leave. In the chaos, Manel received a call from his sister. She told him to go home immediately, and they would find a way to get someone to pick him up. But as Manel drove toward home, he found the highway completely gridlocked, stretching as far as the eye could see. The city's transportation network had collapsed. Left with no choice, he abandoned his car and continued on foot. By the time the exhausted Manel reached his apartment, he found the entire neighborhood under lockdown. A quarantine tunnel had been set up next door, and 2 soldiers were roughly restraining a neighbor in a muzzle, dragging him into an ambulance. It was clear the man had been infected. Back inside, Manel received another video call from his sister, and the news was even worse. The military had begun establishing a secure zone, planning to gather all remaining survivors for centralized management. In other words, the city had effectively fallen. She warned Manel not to go to this so-called safe zone. The virus was contagious, and the more people there were, the more dangerous it would become.